Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show, sponsored by Indigo Communications. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Thank you very much to you for joining us. We really appreciate your support throughout the season, and thank you for the fabulous figures over the last month. Again, not only subscribers but viewers to all our content on YouTube, the website and the app as well. We're really pleased that we've got more and more supporters joining us to talk football. If you love your football club, then by all means post a message on the feed as well and hit that subscribe button. Ruffy's here, so is Richard Foster and also Tam McManus. In the old days, Ruffy, of course, on television, our show, quite a lot of people would not be allowed to wear any kind of branding whatsoever, because Ofcom, everybody would be all over it. But because we're on YouTube, some people just are able to wear whatever brands they want for their best mates, and he is so far up that boy Stephen Robb's team. It's unbelievable, isn't it? He's got his B gear on, hasn't he?
Yeah, some smart gear.
You like it, Ruffy, don't you?
Well, I couldn't wear a hoodie.
You could. We bought you a Lacoste hoodie for your 70th.
I don't wear it anymore. Somebody slaughtered me on the thing.
Oh, did
So you don't wear it anymore?
Oh, he's bought it. He's so thin-skinned, isn't he?
Honestly, you don't listen to people like you. See, you're wearing your Glen Eagles top. Must have been reduced.
No.
There's no way you pay top drawer for anything.
No, I didn't, but Ruth, obviously, who watches everything.
Still got it.
You let Ruth go.
Ruth rattled him, didn't she? She's rattled him.
Ruth sent a message in saying, Ruffy at 70 is ruining the show because he's wearing shorts.
He doesn't like his legs.
He's just a disgrace. You've got to be a serious kind of pundit. No shorts on the programme. Simple as that.
It's not the PGA Tour, geez.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you one thing that you missed on Sunday, Tam, at the PFA Awards is your man's suit. Your suit was a belter. My mate loved your suit. He thought it was super designer and he was desperate to get a hold of it. But there's bad news about it.
There is bad news. The arse collapsed at it.
There you are.
Get in the taxi, the seam split.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there you are. $3.5 grand down the drain.
I was
Anyway.
just praying there was a wee button that lit up. No, the white bits just
It did have that look about it, Ruffy, didn't it? Anyway, it was great to see you there at the PFA Awards because it was really a night for people who are friends who all hung about together and turned up. So great to see you there, Richard and Ruffy. Now let's crack on. We've got lots to talk about. Also, I think there's lots of people send us messages. It's only right and proper that we give them a mention because we do value the people who want to talk football on the show. One of them is John Kane, who says, "Hi Peter, another great show yesterday. Sorry Tam, I have to disagree with you on Rangers having the stronger squad. They're more experienced, yes, but Celtic have the younger, more talented group who will only get better, and it's also testament to their quality that their fellow professionals voted 6 of them to form the SPFL Team of the Year." It's all about opinions, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I just look at the overall squads. I still think Rangers are slightly stronger. I think Celtic's got a good 12, 13 players, you know, and their starting lineup's probably as good, if not better, than Rangers. But I just think strength and depth. I still think Celtic have got a bit to go. A lot of those players on loan as well. You know, they're going to go back to their parent clubs. So I still think Celtic have got a bit of building to do for next season to make themselves stronger overall. Not just a strong 12 or 13, but maybe a strong 17 or 18.
Yeah, okay. George Laurie says, "Thank you to PLZ Soccer for the fantastic prize I won on Friday. I'm really looking forward to receiving it and have already started to make room for it in my man cave bar." Of course, he was the winner of Gio Thompson's painting and he chose Kenny Dalglish, so he's going to have that up in his man cave bar, which I think lots of people are building.
Yeah.
Listen, never mind man cave, woman cave, somewhere where everybody can just get away from it and watch. Have you got one of those, Ruffy?
No, I haven't got one of those at all. No.
His whole house is a man cave, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, you've got that much land, you could build a man cave. Yeah, that
Yeah,
tight,
probably
you would,
could,
would
but
you?
no, I wouldn't want to. I'm quite happy with it.
He's got about 300 acres up there, isn't he? Cumbernauld.
Honestly,
quite happy to sit in the living room with the wife and watch the telly. I don't need a man.
Richard, you must have a man cave. You're that type of guy.
No, not at all. Well, to be fair, I did just buy myself a new big TV for the kitchen. That's where I sit and watch football and things like that. But
In the kitchen?
It's not my own. Well, to be fair, I'm the only one that does any work in the kitchen, right enough. But so technically, I suppose that probably is my man cave. But I bought myself a new TV. That was about it.
Wow, excellent. Okay, well, George has got his man cave, and George, congratulations to you. There's lots more chances to win prizes here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and across the website and the app. Just a quick update on some people with the app. We've got a few things that we are updating on the app, so it's going to take a wee while, and it'll be back up and running tonight, fingers crossed. So, that said, quite a lot of people have been mentioning, and rightly so, special tributes to Jimmy Bell, who sadly passed away. And I think Rangers really in a state of shock for this. A lot of the players, former players, legends, manager at the moment, Giovanni van Bronckhorst, a lot of them looking back with great affection at Jimmy. They were certainly caught out by it. James Tavernier, first and foremost, looking to win the game as a tribute to Jimmy Bell, but he said Jimmy would not have been used to all this fuss over him.
Obviously, yesterday was really difficult to take. We all took to our own to obviously to mourn Jimmy. Obviously, people obviously still doing it now, but I know Jimmy wouldn't want the fuss. He'd want us to pull our socks up, roll our sleeves up and get stuck into tomorrow.
Yeah, I think a lot of the players will have that added incentive because they're professionals anyway. They want to win the game, Ruffy, but maybe just a wee bit of sentiment in their emotion and adrenaline to say, let's take an extra step on this one.
Yeah, well, a lot of them, he's been there that long, you know, and all these players have came through and witnessed what the club meant to him, you know, and you've got somebody like at the club, it's always in the back of your mind to do particularly well for him. But you can see by the photographs and everything, you know, that he was the kind of guy that the players were always about. He was always somebody that would chat to them, have a wee bit of banter. It's always somebody away from the manager or the assistant manager and the coaches, somebody you can go and have a laugh with. And I suppose he had a wee room of his own in the kit room, and you go in there and have a carry on. And but for me, it was all about the photographs. I said that yesterday. If you get a chance to see all the photographs at cup finals, he's on the bench and he's there and he's
driving the bus.
He's in the photographs when the cup's getting, and he's got the cup, and he just a Rangers player, legend.
Yeah, I was saying yesterday to Ruffy, Richard and Tam, you know, sometimes you think you've got a really good shirt collection of match-worn shirts, but Jimmy, I think, would put most of the people in Scotland to shame, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you consider all the teams that Rangers have played over the years, you know, Champions League, UEFA Cup, Europa League, you know, and even friendly games, you know, glamour ties. I'm sure if he was you're saying he's a big shirt collector, I'm sure he'd have got plenty off the other kit man, the opposite, and you might have wanted a Rangers one. So no, I'm sure he's got plenty of good shirts.
I would agree. I can't imagine many other teams got a Rangers kit off Jimmy though.
He didn't with them.
He didn't hand them out easily.
Most kitmen will hand it, never get in.
No, it was always you'd go and see him for a shirt, and you'd get the skill. Sometimes he wouldn't even say anything, and then you'd go out to train, you come back in, and it would be at your place. But like I said before, you had that way where he'd look at you and you're instantly afraid. But underneath that, it was a true gentleman. Loved the club, as Ruffy said, and you have to walk through his wee room to get into the changing room at Murray Park. So you seen him every morning, you chatted to him and that, and he just had time for everyone. And I think that's why he's in all the photos with all the players, because he was just, kind of a friend to everyone. I think Dave Lavery, I think he'll be probably his closest friend at the club, and I think he'll be hurting today. But the two of them were like Batman and Robin, so it was a good little dynamic they had. But he'll be sorely missed because he was a true gentleman.
Yeah, no surprise. Giovanni van Bronckhorst has commented on the loss of Jimmy Bell and says it's just caught everyone by surprise.
Well, I think too. Yesterday wasn't about keeping the spirits high. We were all very shocked about the news that Jimmy passed away. It was a hard day for all of us. I think everyone, was really down, which you can imagine. So yesterday we didn't do a lot. I mean, we were all at the training ground, but of course the atmosphere was very, very down.
Yeah, and the manager's got a tough job because he's got to try and pick everybody up again and try and somehow look at that loss and try and maybe use it for the players to say, let's try and win this with a bit of style, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think in the motivation of the night, it's worthwhile throwing it in there along with the tactics of the game. As we've already spoken about, a lot of the players were very personal with them, so it will mean a lot, to win that game, with him in the back of your mind. So, but once you get there, you've got to concentrate on the football and worry about everything afterwards.
Yeah, there will be a minute's silence for Jimmy Bell at the match, and I think that will be, right around the stadium. I think a lot of Rangers fans will want to show their appreciation for the kitman, and he was so much more to the club, as we've been hearing over the last couple of days. As far as the game itself is concerned, Rangers have to overturn that 1-goal deficit from the first leg in Germany. There's a possibility that he's suggesting, after having a look at them today, Tam, maybe Kemar, Roofe, Ramsey possibility?
Well, that seems to be the case. I think both of them have obviously made a pretty rapid recovery from their injuries, but I think it would be unfair not to play Sakala after his performance in the Old Firm game. I think he'll play. I think he'll start. Maybe Roofe's a good option to come off the bench. I don't think they had that at the weekend. So, no, I think the more players Rangers have got available to pick from, the better, because they're going to need everyone. It might go to extra time. Substitutes might be crucial. So for those guys to be on the bench, I think we give Rangers a boost anyway. Yeah,
out at Ibrox today, our reporter Kerry Pollock was covering the press conference.
Rangers will battle it out once again against RB Leipzig for the final time in the second leg of the Europa League semi-final. Just one game stands in the way of the Glasgow side reaching the final in Seville. Leipzig come to Ibrox with a 1-goal advantage from the first leg, but will history repeat itself for Rangers? Back in April, it was Braga who had the upper hand going into the second leg of the quarter-finals, and Rangers overcame that hurdle by knocking out the Portuguese side from the competition. The last time Rangers were in a European final was in 2008, where over 200,000 fans made the journey to Manchester. So far, Rangers have conquered Dortmund, Braga and Sparta Prague, just to mention a few. In his press conference earlier this morning, the Gers boss says it'll be a noisy but an emotional night here at Ibrox.
We're gonna have a noisy night, and a noisy night we need to overcome this opponent, and we'll be emotional, but we'll be ready when the whistle goes.
Van Bronckhorst is hopeful that Kemar, Roofe and Aaron Ramsey will be ready to feature in the game tomorrow night after missing the first leg last Thursday. But will Leipzig be the ones to put an end to Rangers' Europa League dream, or will the Glasgow side defy the odds and reach the grand final? Also battling it out for a place in Seville, West Ham and Frankfurt go head to head, but for Rangers their Europa League fate hangs in the balance. It all takes place here at Ibrox 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
Yeah, thanks to Kerry for that there. And I think the question that she posed about Rangers and the tactic for this one, Richard. What is the tactic? What's the best way to approach this? Because a lot of people are suggesting, well, wait a minute, if Rangers come out and go toe-to-toe with Leipzig, that's not the ideal plan.
No, I don't think it is, but I think that the goal late on last week, I think that means that Rangers need to open up a bit sooner than they might have beforehand. I think, you go there with the crowd behind you, get back on level terms as quickly as possible, I think, and that could, you could get yourself back into the game and maybe then go on to get ahead in the tie in the first half or the early part of the second half. I don't think they can sit in and wait too long, because it's really difficult. If you go there with a game plan, right, we're going to sit in and keep it nice and tight, and then all of a sudden you need to change, and then in the last half an hour, right, we need to get a goal. I think you might then leave it too late. I think they need to go out there early on and try and get back in the tie, and then maybe reassess kind of the mid part of the game and what they want to do in terms of how adventurous they want to be going forward. But I think they need to get into the tie quickly.
Totally agree. I think that the first goal in this game is going to be absolutely massive. I think if Leipzig score early, and I don't see Rangers coming back from it 2 goals down in the tie. But if Rangers can get that goal, and they've started their home games very, very fast, Braga, Red Star Belgrade, Dortmund, they've started well and they've got the goals. So I think if they can do that again and they can get this it might spook Leipzig a wee bit, and they've not been in the best of form recently either. I think if Rangers can get that early goal, that first goal, and level the tie, I think they've got every chance to go win the tie. But I just think that the first goal is going to be massive.
Yeah, I've got a sneaky feeling for this one, Ruffy. I think Rangers can win it. I think it might have to go to extra time, possibly penalties. I've got 2-1 in my head, but I think they can win it. What about you?
Yeah, I think we all hope they can win it. With Scottish football, always want to see our teams progressing. It'd be great for them to get to a final. But Tam's obviously put the ding me on me saying that every time they get away from home they score. You know, they scored, what was it, many against Atlanta, 2?
2 against Atlanta, 3 against Sociedad,
away from home,
and they scored 2. They scored 3 at Man City and 2 at PSG. So I mean,
so they've got the form. They'll know in the dressing room. They know they're capable of scoring goals. You know, but for me, it's all up to the Rangers' performance, and we know in these European nights that the Rangers players step up to the plate, and at home particularly with the crowd behind them and everything. But as the guys are saying, it depends on who scores and when, and the 90 minutes, you know, and hopefully it's Rangers that get the first one.
Yeah, and with that in mind, who wins it, Ruffy? Because you know,
I'm going to go for Rangers. Yeah, I'm sticking with Rangers. Yeah, I think I've said this on numerous occasions when we come up against European teams. I think we talk them up too much. I think we make them better than what they are. The Dortmund was a perfect example. Yeah, they've got all the credentials and everything, but on any given night, if your team perform, then you can beat these teams.
Yeah. So what's your score?
2-0 Rangers.
2-0. Okay.
Although they score away from home all the time.
Yeah.
did you say that with that?
And I know. But by the way, and a big apologies. I know most of you there could have gone for a Kit Kat, put the tea on, and enjoyed yourself. But big apologies for the last 2 minutes of waffle, and then eventually we get there. Save me, Richard. Save me.
I'm the same as you, Peter. I think it's going to be 2-1 Rangers. I think they'll score early. And then I think they'll go 2-0 up, and I think Leipzig will score and make it go to extra time.
Yeah. Okay. You can give us your thoughts on it. What do you think is going to happen in this one? There's an emotional attachment to the game. Certainly, I think the Rangers fans will be in full voice once they've basically showed their respects to Jimmy Bell. I think it's a place where the roar will be loud. And then whether that can inspire Rangers to greater heights, only time will tell. But it's an absolute cracker to look forward to. Give us your thoughts on how you think it's all going to go. 2018 on this very day, Ruffy. I know you like these on this day situations. 2018 on this very day, something special happened at Rangers. I wonder if you can guess. No? Stevie G was unveiled as the Rangers manager. And then from there, onwards to winning the league title, which was the remit over that course of his tenure as manager, and he managed to do that and stop Celtic winning 10 in a row. So now he is the Aston Villa boss, moved on, and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has got the opportunity to create again a nice little bit of history for Rangers if they can get to another European final. Only time will tell. Of course, in the other semi-final, West Ham, is their chance gone, or could they go to Germany and produce a little shock?
Yeah, I think they can. I don't think the tie's gone at all. I think it was a shock to a lot of people that they lost the first leg. I think they've been strong at home this season, but I don't think the tie's dead. But I think it just shows you how big a game this Rangers one is, because if Rangers go into the final against Frankfurt, I think Rangers are favourites. I think Rangers would be favourites to beat Frankfurt. You know, they've beat 3 teams for me that are better than them. You know, if they beat Leipzig, so this is just everything's just opened up, but it's all down to tomorrow night. You're beating Leipzig at home, and if you win that, I think they've got a massive chance to win it.
Yeah, it's strange actually. You know, when you think about Rangers in that history, when you go back to 1972. My God, the Rangers Cup Winners' Cup side, Ruffy, they defeated what I would call the West Germany World Cup final team in Bayern Munich.
Yeah, they certainly did. It was a tremendous run through there, and there was another disappointing that night as well when they never got the trophy or something. The fans came on the park.
Well, that was the final. I'm talking about the semi-final when Derek Parley. And I'll keep you right on all the things that happen. And
no, I thought you were talking about the final.
No, 72 was Moscow Dynamo in the final, but Bayern Munich in the semis. I mean, Bayern Munich had some team.
Yeah, but I mean, Aberdeen were beating their teams as well.
Yeah,
you know, that's the way.
What age were you in 72, Ruffy?
He would have been 17. Yeah.
No. So there's no way you were watching 19, that game.
19.
Where were you? You were out that night, weren't you? You weren't watching that game.
I don't remember that at all.
What age were you in the League Cup final? 17?
19.
19? Ah, right, 19. Right, okay. So you'd have been 20 in 19.
You'd have been at a nightclub. No chance you watched that final.
Who?
No.
Ruffy?
The Rangers final? No, I never watched that.
Did you not?
No.
Wow. 1972? No. Unbelievable. Anyway, I think I was 7. I was 7, so I certainly wasn't in a nightclub, Ruffy, to be honest with you. No, I would have watched it because I mean, Colin Steen scored.
Big Derek.
Derek played in the match. Didn't score. Willie Johnson scored as well. So it was a bit hear him scare him towards the end. but they held on to win it 3-2.
The only thing obviously I remember the goals and all that, but the thing that sticks in my mind is the shorts that they wore, the Germans. More traditional. Nobody ever wore shorts with hoops on them.
Is that right?
White shorts with black hoops, yeah.
Right, okay. There you are. So another piece of useless information. I was wondering where he was going with that. Anyway, the point is, it's going to take a supreme effort, and I think they can do it. West Ham, I think they're up against it. I think they've blown it.
I don't think they've blown it. When there's only one goal in the tie, it's all to play for. But again, it's similar. I think they need to go there and score the first goal and get themselves back into the tie as quick as possible. I think the longer it goes, you need to you're gonna flood your men forward, and that's going to leave gaps at the back. And then Eintracht, Frankfurt, I don't know if they'd be Rangers would be favourites if it was the two of them in the final, because they've beaten some decent teams, West Ham included, if they go through this tie. So they'll be a decent enough team themselves, but yeah, you don't want to be going too long in the tie and still try to get back into it, because that's when the nerves kick in. Like I say, that's when the gaps at the back open up as well. So for West Ham to go through, they need to score. Same as Rangers, they need to score early, I think. But I just think Frankfurt will just have a little bit too much for them.
Okay, congratulations to Craig Gordon. He's the Scottish Football Writers Player of the Year, which is no mean feat. He's won it twice before, so this is a hat-trick for him, Ruffy. It's like, I don't think we're all fans of offering goalkeepers an award. You have to be really special, and I think Craig is.
Yeah, I think he's had a fantastic season. There was a montage of the saves that he's had this year. There was one in particular, I think it was against Livingston. It was a double save. It was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I think if you ask any of the Hearts players, they'll know his worth. They'll know, particularly in big games. He's a big game player. He makes the big saves at the right time for Hearts and for Scotland. He's proved it at Scotland as well. And well done to him. I hope he does stay another year, and tries to get as many caps as possible. Because remember you saying to David Marshall he was on 47. So let's keep Craig going for a wee while longer.
Listen, Craig Gordon, I hope he writes an autobiography which is nothing like Ruffy's. I hope he. I
was thinking about it the other day. I want a copy of yours.
His autobiography?
I want to read it, aye.
Why don't you just read Enid Blyton and the famous five go on a trip somewhere? It's the same type
Is it
of thing.
crap?
Oh,
is it?
Listen.
Are you honest in it?
40,000 copies went.
Yeah.
Sold?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
40,000 people. What year?
Yeah. I don't know, it was a wee while ago, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Tom's asked a follow-up question.
Sorry?
Did you tell the truth in it?
Well, I obviously didn't. I obviously didn't put anybody in it, if
Yeah.
that's what you mean.
You know, some of them were sweating.
Yeah.
I had a few phone calls.
Yeah.
I had a few phone calls.
Yeah.
Don't you dare.
So
Very high profile people.
I know, you've told us.
now you've got the flavour of what the thing's about. I had a wonderful time. It was great going on tour with Scotland, and just disappointing we didn't win certain games. So that's the flavour of it, Tam. But if he did the no holds barred one, it would be absolutely.
All the stories he tells us.
The finest book I've ever read in my life.
Look at the bottle. Just date now. You're 70. Just who cares? Go for it.
He cares.
I don't want to be sued.
Exactly. But anyway, apart from that, the reason why I mentioned Craig Gordon, because I just think there's got to be something about why someone sat down at Celtic and let him go.
I can remember when he was at Dumbarton. I mean, his career was all but over. People were saying he was finished. I can remember going to train. I came back from America, and Ian Murray was my friend. He was a manager at Dumbarton. I went and trained with Dumbarton, and Craig Gordon was in taking the goalkeepers. And I'm thinking, Craig Gordon. But I said, nah, I think I'm going to pack it in. And then for there, that was maybe about 10 years ago, and now he's now.
Did Rangers not give him a facility?
He was
He was
working with Steve Walker, the physio.
It was his arm, wasn't it? His arm was.
No, it was his knee.
His knee.
Yeah, Steve was really, really good, and obviously kind of worked out a way of training plan and a way of getting him back on the pitch. And I mean, he was in there for quite a while. Cause it was about 2 years. He was kind of out the game, and obviously thought he was finished, but came back and he's almost better now than he was before he got injured.
Well, and he's utilised the fact that goalkeepers can play into their late 30s. He's 39 years of age. And when you think about his agility, when you consider his injuries before, some of his saves have been top draw this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's his reaction saves for me. The double save, the speed, like you said, he's a big guy as well, and he can get down and back up really, really quickly. And Ruffy's right; he's had some fantastic saves. And to win the Player of the Year, when most of the time it's attacking flair players, goal scorers that win that, to win the Player of the Year is a huge achievement for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we start to talk about some of the games from last night as well,
can I jump behind the sofa?
I was going to say I've got to chat to you. It was a particularly harrowing time for you last week. You became a kind of an internet sensation.
Not quite the same as Charlie, though.
No, not quite the same. Charlie's
just a
the
cheat.
difference between you and Charlie is you fronted up in the studio. He didn't want to come on Friday because he knew we were absolutely going to give him pelters. I thought it was disappointing. I know that there are a lot of really, really good Partick Thistle fans, but unfortunately some of the moronic element of it, they grab the headlines because they're filming everything. It must have been particularly difficult for you.
It was, and it was stupid of me to react, because that's entirely what they were doing. They were trying to get one of us to react. But I mean, some of the stuff, and not just directed at me, the whole team as we walked up there at half time, some of the stuff they were saying was outrageous. Stuff that you'd get arrested for in the street or battered in the street. And I heard a couple of things and just I thought, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that as I walk up here from a Partick Thistle fan. And like I say, stupid for me to react, but some of the stuff was ridiculous. Stuff you would just, I don't even know why he would think, I'm going to say that to one of my own players at half time and then expect me to come out in the second half and be like, oh great, I can't wait for the second half, I'm going to really try and play well now. Just a strange mindset. But first and foremost, I shouldn't have reacted. But I think people kind of tend to know that I'm so passionate about when I'm playing, and when I'm getting beat, I'm not happy, and I react probably more easily than I would have done if I was winning.
Yeah, but the nature of it sometimes would put you over the edge as well. I mean, for a club like Partick Thistle to have someone shouting something sectarian and then against your wife is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, some of the stuff he said, I mean, it was only kind of after the fact I heard about the stuff about Amy, but before that I heard the sectarian stuff, and that's what changed it. That was what changed my kind of, I think you can't see it in the video, but I'm walking away from him, and then I hear that, and I just, it was the wrong thing I heard at the wrong time, and I just kind of reacted to it. But it wasn't nice to hear. It's never nice to hear that kind of stuff, and it wasn't nice to hear, particularly because it was from what's said to be one of my own fans. So yeah, it wasn't a great evening.
Although I know Partick Thistle as a club, Ruffy, will distance themselves from people like that. You don't, the PR and the good publicity that Partick Thistle get, these people are the last ones you want to come and support the Jags.
Yeah, unfortunately they're there at every club. We pride ourselves in being a community club, a family club. I always thought it was going to be trouble, not for our players, but every player, because you can't change in the changing rooms. You're thrown into a scenario where I think the most aware thing is the Aberdeen players walking up the Motherwell bit, and it's unfortunate that there is a minority out there who spoil it for everybody else, because I don't think it'd be the feeling of every other supporter that you've got one or two who just spoil it as usual.
To be fair, like when I came off, as I walked round, most of the Thistle fan, nearly all the Thistle fans were kind of clapping and kind of really nice and really good, and the response I've had kind of online and stuff as well has been the same. A lot of real supportive comments. So for the most part, the Thistle fans have been brand new, but it's just like you say, at every club you have that minority.
Yeah. Have you ever been close to reacting, Tam? Because there's been a lot of clubs where they wanted rid of you.
It was usually my own fans as well. No, listen, I've got a lot of sympathy. I've seen the video and I had a lot of sympathy for Richard, because there's times when I've felt like doing that as well. Going for supporters when you're walking off and they just think they can shout whatever they want about your parents, about your wife or whatever, about your... Listen, if they say something about your ability as a player, I'd laugh it off.
Yeah.
If they said
probably be right with me.
If they said you were rotten and all this and crap, fine. It's just but if they start getting personal about your family, then there's a wee switch, I think, in every single person. You wouldn't take that off somebody in the street, as Richard says, and you're not going to take it when you're walking off the pitch.
Well, listen, it's at every level, because you just look at the reactions. Zidane, I think it was Materazzi, wasn't it? And he absolutely went ballistic. Yeah.
Missed him and hit him in his chest.
Yeah, I don't think he missed it. I think he was going for his chest. but nevertheless, it can happen at every level. You just want a level of decency. And as Tam mentioned, football players are well used to criticism. We're all used to it at various jobs that we do. You just have to take it on the chin. Simple as that. But when it crosses a line, I think all of you made a good point.
Yeah, we had when we played Scotland versus England at Hampden, we stayed in the McDonald Hotel, and I think England beat us 2-1 at Hampden, and we went back to the McDonald Hotel with wee Joe Harper.
Yeah.
And Joe had a very, very short fuse, and unfortunately the White Craigs rugby team were also in the hotel at the time, and as we were leaving, they were coming out as well. There's about 10 of them, and one of them shouted, "Oh, Harper, you're a wee..." And Joe turned around and went, "Come on, I'll take the lot of yous." And can you imagine White Craigs rugby team as I'm trying to get into my car? Joe, leave it, Joe. We'll never take them. We'll never take them. But you're right. It's very difficult to turn away, isn't it? It's really difficult, you know. And it's unfortunate these people out there think that, I don't know what they're trying to do really. They're just trying to goal you into doing something.
Yeah, I'm just reading here, and far be it from me to suggest that it's inaccurate, but one of our viewers has just mentioned that the Maradona top has gone for £7 million, Roofe. 7 million, the most expensive shirt of all time. And I was watching a news item that the actual shirt itself, they bought it in Mexico because it was so hot they couldn't wear the normal ones. So they bought this shirt in Mexico, and he put glitter numbers on the back and sewed the Argentina badge on it, the kitman, and they became so iconic, you know, because they had those silvery type of thing you'd wear, silvery sparkly things on it, and that's why, you know, Maradona's number 10 became so iconic, the hand of God. But of course,
and who owns it? Whose jersey?
I don't know. I've just read it looks as if Maradona's shirt's gone for 7 million. I'm just reading out. I don't know who owns it, Ruffy. Do you want me to find out for you?
I thought
he usually does that question.
Who was the player that swapped?
Steve Hodge.
Steve Hodge?
Yeah,
Steve Hodge has sold it for 7 million.
7 million.
Yeah, we can join Steve Hodge now from Barbados. He's lying on the beach.
You're raising your player against. I bet you're bailing you never.
No,
swapped it with Maradona.
I had an Argentina strip, and I have to be perfectly honest, when I saw it, and even Richard, when I get into it, it was that narrow and tight, and it was just, I don't know what it was.
Well, can I tell you something? It's funny you saying that, by the way, because Mark Hateley gave me his England shirt, and Mark, when he was absolutely at the peak of his powers, his shirt, I could have worn it as an armband. I mean, it was so thin. You know, they were absolutely body tight, and he played in that type of shirt in Brazil, I beg your pardon, when he scored first, or I think he might have scored second, and John Barnes scored that Maisie against Brazil. But the shirt itself, super thin, you know. But this one, 7 million for a shirt is incredible.
What about Kubilas's shirt? How much do you think that would go for?
Oh, Kubilas's shirt, maybe £100.
The one that scored that.
Yeah.
Will you ever sell it before you croak it?
No, he's gifting it to someone. You're
not leaving it him, are you?
Yeah, he's got
Ruffy.
You don't even turn up for parties. You've got no chance.
You can have the Zico one if I find it.
Give him the Zico one. That's in a drawn one of your daughter's houses. Anyway, apart from anything else, 7 million. Has he scored in that shirt the greatest ever goal scored in a World Cup finals?
No, it's not the greatest goal. It's the most memorable.
No.
When he punches it.
the other one.
Oh, the other one.
Beats the
entire
Oh,
team.
yeah. Oh, that was a fantastic goal.
Yeah, is that the greatest ever goal?
Yeah, but somebody over in Argentina said that he swapped jerseys at half time because of the heat. And I remember reading it somewhere that some woman, a relative, said, "I've got that jersey because he swapped the jersey at half time."
I think there's an authenticity in the fact that he's worn a shirt that's got a number 10 on it.
There's a picture in
There's a picture of him, handing it over to Steve Hodge. The problem is, what's the authenticity of playing in a shirt in a World Cup final? You take it off, you hand it over to somebody. You may well have 2 or 3 on. The players are used to in those days maybe having 2 or 3 to change into, especially if it's a blisteringly hot day, or indeed in contrast to that, the weather's dreadful. You get at half time soaked, you know. So
we swapped jerseys with East Germany, over in East Germany, and it was the one, just put all your jerseys in, somebody will take it through to them, and they took it through and they sent us back with just white t-shirts. All stained and ripped. It wasn't even any numbers. It was nearly a war.
was it their jerseys though, or was it just t-shirts?
Just their training jerseys. They'd taken their jerseys and just gave us some.
Oh, absolutely. Well, to be fair, by the way, you were considerably better off than the people of East Germany, so stop moaning about it, will you? Is it the greatest ever goal?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think every time you see it, you keep thinking, surely at some point someone's going to tackle him, but he just moves so fast with the ball. He just kind of glides by most of it. Probably, was it about 7 or 8 of them? He actually goes past, and then the finish at the end. Fantastic goal.
Yeah, and somebody says here, is Richard going to be wearing the Maradona shirt on the next show, thinking that you've bought it?
Amy might have put a wee bid in.
Well, to be fair, she can afford 7.
Couple of albums.
She can afford 7 million. That's magnificent, isn't it? Anyway, greatest ever goal for you?
Yeah.
I can't think of a.
I
really can't think
just
of a
the
better
whole
one.
Nah.
Was it Bergkamp against Argentina? You know, the kind of
When
comes
he
over and he
falls
flicks it
over.
back.
De Boer from the left-hand side, and he.
Was that World Cup? That was World Cup.
That was World Cup, yeah. No, it's
But I think it's there's not going to be another goal like it,
No.
because like I say, he goes by so many players.
Do you know what's even better about that goal? The pitch was so heavy, it was poorly laid, and when you were actually running, the grass was giving way. So it made it even. The England players said it was so amazing to actually see him glide across the pitch as if he was just skating across it with the ball of control on the worst pitch you could ever wish to play on, because it all rutted.
Wouldn't have done that in Firhill.
Yeah, but I have to be honest with you, by the way, he probably would, because when he was with Napoli, he could do that sort of thing.
They never cut the grass the way they cut the grass now. The grass was always long back in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah. Now,
it was really long in the Maracana. It was just.
Yeah. You ever been in the Maracana? No.
Many was there that day, Roofe?
140,000.
140,000. You played a blinder as well, didn't you?
Well, we got beat 2-0 and Zico scored on a free kick, so.
Yeah, so you didn't play a
Many did
blinder.
Zico score by you?
Just the one, 2-0.
Yeah, but your old mate Kenny said you played magnificent.
I don't like bum up, but I won the player of the tournament, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
keep meaning to bring that trophy in to show you, but.
Perhaps you can stop whispering when you're trying to be humble. Anyway, apart from anything else, apparently you did play a blinder, Roofe. What about the playoffs? Last night, murder, you've blown it.
I haven't blown it. As we know in football, you've never blown it until the end. Disappointed. I thought it 1-0. I thought we could have seen the game out, but obviously circumstances weren't to be.
See, in a positive sense, what about the reverse pass from Brian Graham?
Yeah, it was a reverse. He was very fortunate it went through the boys' legs.
Honestly, can you stop being Scottish for a minute? What a pass it was!
Yeah, and what a finish. First goal in what, 3 years?
Was it?
That was his first goal in 3 years.
Is that right?
Yeah. So at 1-0, I thought, usually Firhill were good enough to get a 0, but obviously circumstances, things happen in games, and we were all analysing it through there, and you could analyse it to the forever. But
Since interesting though, Roofe, though, we're 1 goal behind, but they're off. Rangers are 1 goal behind, but they'll come back and win. But why won't we come back?
Well,
and
I'll
win?
tell you why. Because it's levels. Rangers have got the capacity to come back and win. Your lot for the last 3 months, you've been giving me every week in here. We'll batter them. We couldn't believe it. We battered them and we lost 2-0.
No, we never battered
I don't think the tie's done yet.
No, but I'm talking about the last 3 months. I'm not talking about last night.
All right.
You know, how many times have you come in here and said, "Oh, we battered them and we lost"?
Well, we usually do batter teams. But no, I think both teams are pretty even.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got home advantage, but
Score
the
the
last
first
time we
goal.
were up there, we were winning 3-2 with 4 minutes into injury time. So
What happened?
3 each. They scored in the last header. But we barred them for 92 minutes.
So, realistically, can you?
We definitely can. I think we've got, Alex Kubiak scored obviously against Ayr. Brian's kind of been the main threat for goals all season. Would love Juan to get a goal. Just, he's a young kid and needs to kind of try and find his way. Obviously had a great chance last night and he should score. But yeah, we've got it in us to go up there and play well and score. And like Roofe said, we've scored 3 goals up there before as well. We just need to try and stop making kind of silly errors and conceding goals.
Yeah, thanks to so many of you who have posted messages of great goals down through the years. Pellé's header in the World Cup final in 1970, and Jimmy Duff has said Brazil's fourth goal in the 1970 World Cup final was fantastic.
And somebody came out and said that they actually practiced that goal in the morning of the game, pass for pass, goalkeeper thrown at the fullback playing it to Castillo, wasn't it? He put it to somebody. They actually did it in the morning.
But the Alberto
pass per pass,
Carlos Alberto,
and then he just slides it into his path.
Slow was it?
Well,
just walked it up the pitch and he ran it.
Just out of curiosity, at above sea level, with humidity, like you would struggle to breathe. If you were an asthmatic, you'd be on oxygen, and the heat was outrageous. You're not exactly sprinting in that kind of.
But when you look at the Maradona goal, you know
Yes.
what I mean, that's just far superior.
Oh, I think as an individual goal.
The
it's
great
top
thing about
drawer.
the Carlos Alberto goal for me is, I don't know if it was a smaller camera back then, but when he lays the ball, you can't even see him. It's amazing. So when he lays the ball out to Carlos, I thought, hey, who's he passing the ball to? And you just see him busting out the pitch and hitting it.
That's what
you
Ruffy's
don't,
saying.
you don't see him.
If you've practiced it, you know he's making that run, you know. But you know what's
see him in
great
the
about it, Ruffy? See, before he hits it, it just takes a little bobble and sits up beautifully for him, and then bang, great
It's going to
goal.
happen on Friday night. I'll score that goal on Friday night.
Yeah, are you fit?
Yeah.
Good, excellent, good chance for him.
You're going to run off the bench and do it.
Brilliant.
I hold myself up.
That's absolutely outrageous, and thank you.
Just slaughtered Brian Graham now, he's slaughtering him.
Yeah, thank you to Ian Docherty. He's actually mentioned something brilliant about Pellé's goal against Sweden as a 17-year-old, which is sensational. Great bit of chest control, flicked it over him, and then bang. As a 17-year-old Sweden, 5-2.
But I thought,
no,
it's final.
5-2. Now, what about the other matches? So, 2-1 Inverness. Are they doing it for you, Tom?
Sadly, I really want Thistle to win for the guys.
Yeah.
I like Partick Thistle, but I think Inverness will just go through.
Yeah, I like the guys too. Inverness. So, Montrose won, Airdrie 0. I had Airdrie to win that one, Ruffy. I still think Airdrie will win it.
Yeah, I think they will. They were on a good run. I think it was one defeat in 22 or something like that. Montrose is a difficult place to go. It's the AstroTurf up there, and they've been doing particularly well. Well done to them. But no, I think Airdrie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Airdrie will come back at home and win the tie.
Yeah, Edinburgh City 4, Dumbarton 1. I didn't see that coming, Tom. Did you?
No, that's all but relegation then for Dumbarton, isn't it? I think that it's going to be Edinburgh City and one of the other two, and another Forfar. It's a fantastic result for Edinburgh City, a club that I've always liked as well, and I like doing their Player of the Year do as well, as Ruffy knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Good crowd.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've
speakers you employ to come on the day, you know. So.
By the way, don't worry about it. I've also suffered the wrath of Edinburgh City at dinner. Well, they won, and I think they're in too commanding a position. And an Athletic, no surprise, 1-0. It's slender against Forfar.
Yeah, I mean, when it's that, you know, you always think you can turn it around, you know, but, you know, I think it's going to be tight right until the end of that one.
Yeah, Ryan Christie, now they're back, Bournemouth are back, Richard, that earns Celtic a £2 million windfall now that they're back in the Premier League. I think that's one of those clauses in the contract you have to say to yourself, well done to Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, Celtic know how to do transfers and make money, don't they? You know, even when it's a player who then leaves the club and has success with his next team, they seem to make money from it, and that will kind of stand them in good stead for the summer, because I've been hearing talk of numbers, you know, that they're going to be allowed to spend in the summer, so every penny helps, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just wonder what he's going to spend that money on. I mean, obviously Jota's one aspect of it, Cameron, Carter, Vickers, but then he'll be wanting to bring in, I think, more players for Celtic, you know, to take it on another level again. You know, his first recruits have certainly pleased the Celtic fans.
Yeah, I think the board trust him as well now. I think that the majority of the signs, if not all of them, have been very good that he's brought in. So I think he'll get as much money as Celtic can give him. They're getting the Champions League money as well. You know, and I think they're getting a wee bit of money for Ayer as well with Brentford. So listen, I think Celtic financially are in a very, very strong position.
Yeah. Okay. What about your boys? Any chance of a manager coming in at Hibs?
I've not heard anything at all. I mean, the Roy Keane was a lot of nonsense. It was never happening. Tony Mowbray floated yesterday, but I don't think that's going to happen either. I think he could possibly retire, Tony, spend more time with his family. So there's a lot of names been linked to. I always tend to think that the guys that are in the paper and in the press putting their names forward are the ones that are never going to get the job. I think it's usually the ones that are in the background and quiet that's, I think, usually get the job. So what I would say is all the guys that get mentioned now, Michael Appleton, I think is one of them.
Yep. Cocu.
Paul Clement, Cocu. I would think that none of them are getting the job, but it'll be somebody that has not been mentioned yet.
Yeah, okay, there you are, yeah, there. Ruffy, what about...
Keep that recorded, please.
Yeah. What about,
in case one of them get it.
Well, to be fair, it's not a crime to throw up names in the papers, because that's what we'll live or die on. We like that wee bit of gossip, that wee bit of speculation, and a journalist's job at the best of times is hard enough, believe me, trying to find out these things. But if they have been interviewing 1,000,001 people, they'll be looking and saying to themselves, well, have we got in our blueprint someone that's going to buy into what we do, how we run this business, our game plan, or is it someone that just comes in and absolutely says, no, I can do this for you?
I think it's, if they want to stick to the way they do things, i.e. with the signings and the committee and all that kind of stuff, you need to have a manager who doesn't have a specific way of playing. Because I don't think you can come in there with your own way and then suddenly you're given all these players who don't fit the way you want to play. So it never works. We've seen that with Maloney. He had a way that he wanted to play the game. He wanted them to be expansive and pass out from the back, and they weren't good enough to do it. The players they had weren't good enough, or he never got long enough to make them good enough to do it. So I think if they want a manager to come in and just fit into their mould, he's got to be someone. I think he's got to be someone young again, because most experienced managers, most managers who've been around the block a little bit, someone like a Malky Mackay, Derek McInnes, they've got a certain way that they work and that they manage, and the players that they bring in. So I think if unless they change the way the structure is in terms of the signings, I think it needs to be someone young.
Yeah, and when I read this morning the figures, mind blowing what Chris Mueller was on. See, for me, Tam, if Chris Mueller was on anything anywhere near 10 grand a week, that is gross mismanagement.
I'd heard he was on about 7 or 8 grand a week, and before I'd heard the 10 grand, I think it'll be somewhere in those region, and I can't believe Hibs are paying that. They weren't paying that 20 years ago, to players. So I think he's been a bit of a flop. I think he needed more time. Obviously, I played in MLS myself. It's a totally different style of play. It's a totally different pace of play. They needed to give him a bit of time, but he was on a lot more money than Martin Boyle, for example, which I find mind-boggling. Listen, I think that was obviously the owner and the son. That was their signing. That was their marquee signing. And I thought they thought he can come up over here and they can have a good season or two, and they can maybe sell him on. He's only 24. They can maybe get him to England and get a good profit. Didn't work out. So there's a lot of questions now getting asked, I think, of the board and the owner and the head of recruitment. And I think this managerial appointment is huge for both of them and the owners, because I think the Hibs supporters they're starting to ask questions now. They're getting a wee bit fed up with the season this season, and this is an appointment they've got to get right.
Even if it's anywhere between 7 and 10 grand, Ruffy, and when you consider a couple of others that I've heard that were on silly money as well, Sean Maloney wasn't given any chance to go out and get the players that he really wanted in a proper transfer window. It's not just isolated mistakes, there's a whole raft of them.
Yeah, and as I said, the persons, my source at Hibs, were saying there was people turning up at training and they didn't even know who they were or why they were there. Is it the boy Matthew? Is it Matthew? And there was guys coming in and no correspondence, nobody saying, just picking up the phone and saying, we're bringing this boy in for training, and there was guys turning up and they hadn't a clue what to do with them. And that's a terrible state of affairs at a team like Hibs. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, we wait to see how that's all going to develop, who's going to get the job. So at the moment, if you've got any money on any of the ones that have been mentioned, just throw your ticket in the bin, according to Tam. But we'll wait to see. What do you make of this Hearts wanting into the Lowland League as well, with their team to get a bit of action at the bottom end of the pyramid? Are you in for it? Are you for it?
I'm for it in the sense that there needs to be something. There needs to be something for these kids, somewhere for them to play, because youth football doesn't get most of the kids ready for the first team. You will get the exceptions, but those exceptions are usually, you know, the very best of the young kids, and they will kind of go on and break into the first teams at their respective clubs, regardless of where they're playing. But for the most part, I think there's a huge jump from under 18 football to first team football, and that there's nowhere for these kids to go and develop and learn. I'm a believer in that there should be a reserve league. There should be a reserve league, and it should be well funded, and it should be a platform for a stepping stone for the kids. It's what I had when we were younger, where you have that kind of mixture of young kids playing with kind of pros. I know there was talk of, you know, the old pros don't want to play in the league and that, and you know, but back when I was young, there was no option. You know, if the manager said you're playing in the reserves to one of the senior players who didn't play in the first team, he played. Yeah. And if he didn't like it, he didn't play at all, and then soon later he was out the door. You know, they don't want to play, and they don't. That's by and by. There has to be a stepping stone for the kids because there's too big a gap. Yep. So if it's the Lowland League, then great, because that's all there is for them, and I think it's a good thing. Yeah. Okay. We'll wait and see if their application is submitted and accepted. Although it could make it slightly uneven. It might take another couple of teams to throw their name into the hat as well to try and give it a balance in that league. I think that would make it 19 in that league, which is an uneven number. Anyway, apart from anything else, Kevin Thompson, we're talking about players and managers that are tipped for jobs. Kevin Thompson, the latest that's been tipped for the Raith Rovers job. James McPake's name's been mentioned in there, Danny Lennon. Whoever takes over that job, I think they've just got to try and this year coming do everything by the book. You know, they've got to get the fans, I think, back on side. There's a lot of making up to do, I think, obviously with the David Willie saga, which was a disaster for the club, PR-wise as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of names getting linked to that job. I think it's an attractive job in the Championship. I think they've got a good setup there, well backed, and you know, they'll be looking to finish in the playoffs next season. So, you know, it's James McPake there. You know, I think James would be a great fit. He's out of job at the minute as well. I thought he'd done a good job at Dundee, got them promoted. So I think, you know, James McPake, Danny Lennon, Kevin Thompson, the guys that mentioned, they would all do a decent job there. Yeah, absolutely. Last night I was waiting on a text coming in from Roofe when Liverpool were 2-0 down at half time. I thought you'd have just steamed in there, but as ever, Liverpool managed to fight back with some style in the second half, Roofe.
Yeah, I mean, I never got a chance to see it. I only saw the highlights because we were at our game, but certainly it's the worst I've ever seen Liverpool in 45 minutes. They were all over the place, you know, and I can't understand why Villareal, I don't know what happened to them in the second half, but certainly, again, we keep talking about the big players that Liverpool have got, and they turned up in the second half and won the game for them. Yeah, absolutely, and no surprise, Jurgen Klopp is preparing his side for the final in Paris on May 28th, and he's looking forward to what he considers the best tournament in the world.
Outstanding, massive, feels like it's the first, to be honest, because it's always so special. It's, for me, the best club competition in the world. Love it, love the sound, everything, love the night, respect to Villareal. This really wonderful stadium. What the people doing here is absolutely incredible. What Unai is doing is incredible. The players, how they put us under pressure, everything is great. So it feels so special because it was so difficult.
Yeah, he's such a special manager, Klopp. Is he the best manager in the world?
He's certainly up there. He's certainly a manager you'd want to, as a kind of someone that, you know, kind of ages myself, when you're just wanting to go into coaching, you want to go and watch him and see what he does and how he conducts himself and the training and setup he's got, just because whatever he does is something special, because the way Liverpool play, the way they press, get the ball back, the speed at which they move, the fitness that they show, you know, they're fantastic at the moment, and obviously the run they've been on domestically has been great as well. But yeah, he's certainly up there. It's difficult to say who's the best manager, because these top managers work with top players. You know what I mean? It's so it's like 50-50. You know, and then you've got Pep and Man City, who's probably more people would probably say he's the best manager. But then, you know, I don't know. There's something about Klopp I like the way he comes across in the media, and obviously the way his teams play.
Yeah, well, the only person I would put above him, Ancelotti.
Yeah.
His record is absolutely how many leagues has he won in the Championship?
Well, tell us, Ruffy, since you
I'm
brought
going to
him
go
up.
for 5. I'm going to go for 5.
Is it 5?
Five
Is that
different
just
leagues.
guess?
It's just a guess.
Just guess that?
Yeah.
It's round about
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. I'll never be nowhere near 5. Anyway,
I think it's at least 4 to be fair.
yeah. The 7 might be the lucky number for all the fans of Liverpool. It's certainly a lucky number that Andy Robertson's looking forward to.
It's so hard to get to Champions League finals, especially the amount of good teams that are in this competition, and to get to the finals is an incredible feeling. It's going to be a special occasion. We're looking forward to it. We've got a lot of games from now to then, but our season's been extended, but for the right reasons, and we're so happy about it. And we can't wait to try and go and compete and try and make it number 7.
Seven European Cups, Ruffy, for Liverpool would be incredible. Their history in that tournament is unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're back to where they were all these years ago, and it was a given that they were going to be in a European final, and now it looks as if that's where they are again. I think they'll keep going on and on and on with the players they've got, and you would think that if he's going to stay there for a wee bit longer, there's going to be bigger and better players coming in as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. You ready for what? I know. He's all over the place.
No, he's no.
But anyway,
how many league titles is he when you've got it there?
How many league titles has
Sadly.
Ancelotti? What, as a player or a manager?
No, as a manager.
As a manager, he's won Serie A with AC Milan. He's won the Premier League with Chelsea. He's also won the French League with Paris Saint-Germain, so that's 3. And he's won with Real Madrid, the league as well, that's 4. And he's won the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich, that's 5. There you are, can you believe that?
So the 5th one was the Real Madrid winning just there, wasn't it?
The 5th. Well, no, hold on. Yeah, the 5th one was just there. Yeah, you're right.
Come on in this show without research.
Yeah, I've
He's nailed it.
Mourinho just 3. Spain, Italy.
And then England. Yeah. And there was a line here that I think you spotted, Tam, that somebody mentioned just before we go about the big man. Were you in the hospitality? Quite a lot of people were amazed you made it to hospitality, Ruffy, at Thistle.
No, this was about 6:15. I had to go along. It was a pie and a pint night for all the supporters. We had about 140 in there, and I just went along and did a wee Q&A.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paid for it?
Were you in good form?
As usual.
Yeah, absolutely. all the old stories.
We were going to go for Tam, but I went not.
Tam's going through a bad run at the moment. Tam's going through that tumbleweed moment at the moment. Anyway, the other one, I'm definitely going to watch it tonight. Real Madrid against Manchester City. And Pep says, who knows what can happen in this one? It's unpredictable.
Tell you one thing, we can play much worse than we played, and we can win. So, and we cannot deny, anyone can deny my assessment is right. So nobody knows. Football is unpredictable. Sometimes, you get something you don't deserve. Sometimes, you don't get something maybe you deserve for the effort, for many things.
Too tough to call this one. I think Real Madrid are going to edge it.
Yeah, I hope not. I'm a Man City fan.
Are you?
Yeah,
how long have you been a Man City fan?
No, I'm just not a fan, but I just like to see them, the way they play and the players they've got. I think they would give the final if it's Liverpool, obviously as Liverpool.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the teams would sit in. I think we'd get a right good end-to-end game.
Yeah.
I think the safest bet here is both teams to score, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be, I hope it's not an all-England final. I hope Real Madrid can come through this time.
I'm with you on this one. I think it could be, as Richard mentioned there, a game of basketball. You score, we score. You score, we score.
Yeah, Man City will win easy.
Yeah?
Easily.
Yep. Wow.
Comfortable.
There you are. There's the big man. Absolutely blistering.
3-1 or 4-1, I think.
3-1 or 4-1.
Yep.
Okay, so rip up your tickets for the new Hibs manager, and 3-1 or 4-1 at the bookies for Manchester City in the Bernabeu. I'm trying to think of the last team to go to the Bernabeu other than Barcelona and spank Real Madrid. It's a great quiz question. I think there's
Chelsea, a couple of weeks ago?
No, I think there's been
3-1.
I think there's been someone that's, by 3 or 4 goals. I think there's been a team. I seem to remember in the last 3 or 4 years a team actually not a high-profile side went there and had a right good win.
Was it Sheriff? No.
I think it was Sharif, yeah. Good shout, Richard. That's why he's on the programme, by the way. Brilliant stuff. Anyway, just before you go, is the suit wrecked?
Suit's gone. I think it's done.
Could you bring it in? We could give it away.
Yeah, my badge for that.
Let's give it away. Yeah? Exactly. You could bring that in. We could give that away as a competition, couldn't we? Roughy.
Fantastic.
I'd be sewing it up and putting it in eBay.
Yeah. By the way, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Well, we can get a piano in and we could do the Liberace.
Yeah.
Sort of stuff.
This is not a Liberace suit.
Can you bring it in?
If I can be fixed, I'll wear it in.
Yeah, okay, that's fantastic, brilliant. Anyway, apart from anything else, it's been one of those days. Thanks very much to all of you for your messages, talking about your favourite team and some of the topics we've been discussing. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Download the app as well. Hopefully it's back up and running now. We'll keep you up to date on that. And over and above that, our reporter Kerry Pollock has got a great one-to-one with Brian Graham, the Partick Thistle striker. He's absolutely leathered Richard Foster's dress sense and others in the dressing room. It's a brilliant interview, well worth the watch, as well as some great interviews out there with James McPake, Martin O'Neill, Gordon Strachan talking about his playing days with Aberdeen and Leeds United and his management days as well. So hit the subscribe button, join us in PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, and we'll see you tomorrow.